It's now all things real estate. Again, a very, very touchy, sometimes technical, but important, very important topic. Real estate. And this week, for all things real estate, we are once again joined by our friends at the Real Estate Board. This week, we're focusing on the relicensing and payment options available at the Real Estate Board. And joining me for this discussion is the Supervisor, Records and Information Management of the Real Estate Board, Demesha Marsh, and the Revenue Officer at the Real Estate Board, Jermaine Sims. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Good morning. Good morning to your listeners as well, and thank you for having us.
And good morning.
Good. All right, let me start with you, Miss Marsh. Who should be relicensed, and by when should they be relicensed?
Well, all real estate dealers and salesmen intending to practice real estate business for the licensing year 2024-2025 must be relicensed, and by April 1st, 2024.
This is a yearly thing?
Yes, it is.
A yearly thing.
Yes.
And when you say all real estate, well, you used some terms a while ago. Real estate persons and sales
dealers.
And
so
dealers.
It's real estate dealers.
So break that down for me now.
And salesmen.
We are talk.
Right. So the real estate dealers, they practice, so they engage or they practice in real estate business on their own account.
Oh, so they have their own company, for
own
example.
company,
Okay.
right. While the salesmen, they also practice real estate business, but they can do so in part or whole, but they must be licensed or employed to a dealer.
So these salesmen are the same persons who call realtors?
Yeah, well, the term persons use that term realtors, but we'll stick to dealers and salesmen, agents. That is the term that Act use.
So
yes.
Dealers. Remind me.
Dealers, yes.
Or the other one?
Salesmen, right.
So dealers and salesmen.
Yes.
And those are the terms that
the Act speaks to.
The Act speaks
yes,
to.
Yes,
so the Real Estate Board sticks to the Act.
Salesmen and dealers, right.
All right. So let's talk about salesmen and dealers then.
Sure.
What's the requirement for relicensing? Revenue Officer, if you can help me here.
Okay.
Oh, you don't.
No, I will. Yes. All right. So the requirement for relicensing for dealers, they have to pay their prescribed license fee, and
What's
that is $44,000. But they have the option of paying in either full or in 2 installments. Okay. So if it is that they're paying in full, it is $44,000. If they opt to pay in the 2 installments, the half-year payment will be required for the 1st of April, which would be $22,000 for dealers. They also are to ensure that they complete all the 5 mandatory CPD, so that's the continuing development, professional development courses. They are to ensure that they complete all 5 mandatory CPDs. So that is the Common Issues in the Industry, TPA, which is Terrorism Prevention Act, the Dealer and Developers Act, Go AML, and Anti-Money Laundering 2 for the dealers. If it is that dealers have already completed these courses, then there is no need to go and do these again. So that is important for them to understand. And these courses are now self-paced. So they can just go to the client portal, which Mr. Sims will speak to a little later, and get registered for these courses. They are self-paced 24/7. You can do it at your own convenient time. I also would like to say for dealers, the final requirement for them is that they are to ensure if they have the trading name certificates. So for those who practice with a trading name, they are to ensure that these trading name certificates are actually valid trading name certificates, because they will not be licensed with a trading name if it is that the certificate is not valid.
Okay.
Yes, so that's the requirement straight up for dealers.
Okay, I see. You mentioned the CPDs.
Right.
It's a yearly thing, or once you do this set of CPD, you're good for a time?
Yes.
How does it work?
So for the CPDs, as it is right now, once it is that you complete all 5 mandatory CPDs, you will not have to do those again. At the moment, there's no time of when it is that you're supposed to do it again. So once you have completed the 5 CPDs, you're good to go.
So how it works then is you put out that, okay, we have these CPDs,
yes.
so you have to do these.
Yes.
So there might be a time, like for example, April of next year, where you say, oh, we don't have any
Right,
further CPD. I see. Well,
right.
so Mr. Sims.
But that is, I'm so sorry, but that is for the dealers. Let us jump into the relicensing requirements for the salesmen.
Oh, so it's not the same.
Right, no. So it's similar, but let us get into it. So for the salesmen, they too must pay their prescribed license fee, and they too have the option of paying
what's their
in
fee?
full or half. So it's $22,000 for the year. So if it is that they're paying in full, it's a 22. If it is half year, if they're going with that option, then they pay $11,000. They too must complete the CPDs, and it's the same CPDs that I mentioned before. The AML2 is tailored to salesmen. They should also ensure that they are employed to a licensed dealer. It is very important that the dealers are licensed and that the dealer submits.
When you say employed to a licensed
Right.
dealer, I can just work with one of them, or I have to be on staff. There has to be an employment contract.
Well, there is a contract, an employment contract between the salesman and the dealer. Yes.
So there must be that.
But they have the choice of choosing any dealer that they wish to work with.
I see.
Yes. So they are to ensure that the dealer is licensed and that the employment letter for 2024 comes into the board. Now, what I would like to say, Saeed.
So the employment letter is also a part of the requirement?
Yes, man, definitely. You cannot be licensed as a salesman without the employment letter from a licensed dealer. And Saeed, what I would like to say is that as it relates to the licensed, when it is that a dealer is licensed for only half year, then the salesman will only get a half year license. So regardless of paying a full year license fee, I want salesman and dealer alike to understand that if it is that the dealer is only licensed for half year, then it is only a half year license fee that the salesman will get.
Time is coming upon us.
Yes,
Mr. Sims,
Yes.
explain this platform to me now. I want to do the CPD so I can re-license. How do I do it?
All right, so this can be done by utilizing our client portal. It was launched a couple of years ago. Once it is that you pretty much similar to any website that you will utilize, you will be asked to create an account. Once you create an account using your registered credentials that you would have when you were applying to the board, you'll get on to the system, especially using your license number. Now, once you're on the system, then you will be able to pay for not just the courses, but importantly your license fees. And what's good about the client portal is that your payment is practically reflected in real time.
Okay.
So once you pay it, it will be processed within the day or by the next day. Okay. We do have the other payment options utilizing NCB bill payment. There's also bill payment through Scotiabank as well. Those can be utilized. It's important that individuals utilize their license number. All payments made to the real estate board for fees and so forth, you're really encouraged to utilize your license number, as that will aid us in effectively reconciling, and not just reconciling the payment, but also fulfilling our obligation to the service that you're paying for. So that's really important.
So you're the revenue officer, yeah?
Yes.
So you're all about the revenues.
That's it.
So do you get additional revenues if the person is late with their relicensing?
Well, we do get additional revenues if persons are late.
So there are additional fees then for the
Yes.
delay. What are those fees?
So they do incur a 50% penalty fee. So in the case of a dealer, if it is that they miss the April 30 deadline, their license fee is $44,000. So if they miss that deadline, April 30 deadline, no, it's in two phases.
Okay.
So if they miss the April 30 deadline, then they incur, we could say 25%. And so $11,000
I see.
in April. And if they fail and miss the other deadline, which is the September 30, then they incur the balance of that 50%, which is the other 11. So in total for the year, they would pay $22,000 in penalty if they miss both deadlines.
So can they practice though with the expired license? If they don't renew, they're in this penalty period. Then can they still practice with that license?
No, you are not to be practicing without a real estate license.
So there's really no reason why you would not just relicense by the deadline then, essentially.
You ought not to have any reason.
So,
really.
for example, I missed the April 30 deadline, but I come in May 10 and pay the money.
Yes.
How much penalty I have to pay? I have to pay $11,000 same way?
Well, if it is, you will have to pay the $11,000
So
as
you're
a
not going to
dealer.
prorate it and call it per day and say, all right,
Well,
split up the 25%.
Well,
and-
unfortunately, the act does not allow for that proration of fees.
Okay, so this is not a regulation then made by the real estate board. This is a legislation.
Legislation.
This is what the legislation
Right.
has as it relates to the late
Right.
penalty and the late payment.
Right.
Very well. So tell me now, Ms. Marsh, the client facilitation officers, I'm being told are now in place to assist dealers of a certain size.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, so we have assigned client facilitation officers to assist larger dealerships. These are dealerships with 50 and over salesmen employed to them. Would have realized that we would have realized that the dealers that we get most of the bulk of the license from on a yearly basis are the larger ones.
Okay.
And so by streamlining the process, we can now, process license faster for both the larger and the smaller dealers, giving them the attention, the needed attention. And so what we have done so far is to reach out to all dealers. So regardless of the size or the number of salesmen employed to the dealership, reached out to all dealers to have them submit the employment letters for their salesmen so that we can, start the processing of the license. So once they have met all requirements, then by April 1st, definitely, persons will be licensed. We believe in improved service delivery, and so we would have taken this step to have that, and want the industry to feel that as well.
I see. So
yes.
essentially, it's increasing the productivity and
Yes.
efficiency, which runs along the same
Line.
line there. And because of that, you're easily able to collect revenues. It takes less time for them,
Yes.
better for you.
Yes.
Win-win.
Yes,
Right.
win-win.
Nice.
And if I may add as well,
Yeah,
too, while it is that we are the regulatory body, our main aim is not necessarily to collect revenues. Once we collect the revenue, we now have an obligation to you to not just regulate but also to fulfill our obligation. So this is the reason why we are really encourage persons to utilize the more effective client payment options. We have the bill payment options through NCB and Scotiabank, as was mentioned. But more importantly, we're really encouraging persons to use the client portal. That is the most effective one.
And that one you must use the
License number.
license number.
That is
Right.
Use your license number.
Correct.
Very well.
Yes.
Very well. Spoken like a true revenue officer. All about the revenue.
Yes.
Well, that's Demesha Marsh, supervisor, records and information management, and Jermaine Sims, revenue officer, both from the real estate board. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you
Thank
for
you.
having
Thank you
us.
for having us.
That was good. That's all things real estate.